Greetings and salutations from the southern tropics of Michigan. I'm Jordan, the IT guy, and today let's chat a little bit about PowerShell modules. If you've been following along with us, well, last week we talked just a little bit about PowerShell Cmdlets, as well as some of the important functions under them. The general idea and consensus of a Cmdlet is that it provides a verb-noun syntax of what you would like to do. Now, a PowerShell module, and where that gets interesting in its relationship to Cmdlets, is that a module is a library or a list of available Cmdlets. Let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, again, we're going to be working with a Windows 11 machine running PowerShell 5.1. Let's go ahead and take a quick look-see and a quick reminder of some Cmdlets and how they interact together with modules. To start with, we're going to go ahead and run a very simple Cmdlet that is just called getVariable. We've used this a few times before. All it does in this particular instance here is it runs the command to show all the variables in the current session. We also can find out about all of the different Cmdlets that are currently available in our current session by just running getCommand, which will then return a list of all the Cmdlets. Now, we can go through, we can filter those and everything else along the way as needed, but the important thing to know is that each of these different Cmdlets, now which you can't really see here, does in fact belong to a different type of module or library. Now, to see the current modules that are available, if we run get module, we can get a list of all the modules or the libraries that we currently have available to us. And you can think of these basically as, just like I said, they're just lists. Now, there's different types of Cmdlets. There's different ways of creating modules. There's different ways of getting Cmdlets imported into PowerShell. We'll talk about those later on. Suffice to say for now, just understand that there is a relationship between modules and Cmdlets. Cmdlets exist within modules. You don't have to have them exist within modules, though. They can be separate entities. You typically just group a set of Cmdlets together and put them in a module if they are designed for a consistent purpose or a specific purpose. So for example, an example of a module for that might be something like these get sim Cmdlets here, right? The sim Cmdlets library. These would be the list of all of the functions or the Cmdlets that would interact with sim. Another example of something like this might be something like import module, let's do dism. Oops. So now, if I do get module, enter, we can see I now have the dism module that is loaded. It is a module of type script, and it has a series of commands that were exported. If I wanted to find out the Cmdlets or commands that were a part of that, I could do get command module dism, and I would now be able to see all of the Cmdlets and all the commands of things I could do within dism. This is really useful in the future if you're kind of expanding out, especially if you work with different technologies in the IT world or in the Windows world, as most, if not all, of the major Microsoft technologies hold a module. Some examples for that might be things like Active Directory, Exchange Management, and I don't have Active Directory on here, so if I do something like import module Active Directory, it's going to yell at me. It doesn't exist because it isn't in the current module library. It's not a problem. I could install it if I wanted to and things like that. But all of these different technologies, things like Active Directory, Configuration Manager, Exchange, things like that, they do have PowerShell module libraries for the most part. It's also good to know that if you don't have a module, so if you do something like get module, now if you also haven't seen this before, if you do --all, it lists all of the modules currently. And if you do get module --list available, it's going to list all the modules that are available to import on this machine. Okay, so these are all the modules that are currently available. So these are the ones that are found currently in the PowerShell module library to load. Now, if there is a module that you don't have on here, but you know where it is, you can do what's called a install module command from a library or an online repository. There's also some things called NuGets basically and stuff like that. I'm not going to spend really any time on that. Just know that if you do something like install module, let's do SQL Server, we can install the module called SQL Server from the PS repository. Notice it's warning me, hey, you're going to go download something out here. Are you sure you want to do that? I'm going to go ahead and say yes and hit enter, and that's going to go ahead and download and install that module for me so I can interact with SQL Server. All right, that's all we're going to talk about when it comes to modules for today. I hope this was helpful and informative. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.